Hello everyone and welcome to this Playwright tutorial. In this tutorial we will learn to automate and test the REST API with the GET method. So let's begin. In Playwright you can automate and test the REST API. So for this particular tutorial I'm using this particular website. So let's copy this URL from here and go to the browser here. So this is basically a website here. And let me reload this one. So this is a very basic one and you need to scroll down a bit here. So you will see that we have get REST APIs, we have post, put, patch, and delete. So first let's with this post one. So let me click on this one. So this post will give me a post of a user one, and this is the method of this particular API is the get. Okay, so you can see that this is a simple URL. I'm just hitting the URL and getting the response. So usually for the get APIs, we don't need to provide any payload, right? Because we are fetching the data from the server. So simply what I need to do is that let me go to the Visual Studio Code here, and inside this one I need to create a new file. So I'm naming it as REST underscore API underscore get dot spec dot js. And the first thing I need to do is that I need to import the test and expect. Okay, and now what I need to do is that I need to create a test here, and first I need to give a name of the test. So I'm naming it as testing REST API with get method. Okay, and it will be followed by async, and here we need to pass request. Okay, and then it will be followed by an error function and the body of the error function. So now this is your body of your test, and which is ready to make a request. So passing a request here means that we will be using this to send a request. Okay, so here I will create one variable called as const URL, and I will give the URL of this particular API. So simply I will go here, copy this one, and let me go back here and provide this one. Okay, now in order to get send this request, so simply we will do this await request, okay, dot get, and we'll pass the variable known as URL, because you can guess this URL. Now when I'm using this one, what I'll do is that I will save the response this in the response variable so that we can assert the values. So const here and response equals to this one. Now once we hit this one, and simply the first thing we need to do is that we need to assert a status code. So when we talk about this API, so let me go to the Postman here as well, so that you can see, because in the Postman we can see the executions manually. We can hit the request and see the output of this particular API. So let me cancel this one, sign out and remove the data. Let me go with the fresh copy of this one, and here and simply I will go back here and copy this one, and sorry, so let me open this one again. Let me copy this one from here, and let me go to the Postman here. Again, this is a get call, and simply from here you need to click on the send. So as soon as you hit this one, you'll see that we are getting the status code 200, and we are getting this response from here, and it says that the user ID is 1, title is this, and body is this. Now we need to assert that when we are hitting this particular API, the status code should be 200 here. Okay, this is the first thing we need to do. So simply expect, okay, and in response we have everything available. So response dot status, and then status dot to be, so we are expecting here the status code should be 200. Okay, let me save this one, and now let's run this one. So simply npx playwright test minus g. So we'll grabbing this test from here. So testing REST API with get method. Okay, and now let's run this one and see what happens. So you see that our test is passed. In case if I change this to, for example, 203, and in actual the API is giving us a response 200, and here we are expecting it to be 203. So in this case, now it should fail here. So let me go here and hit enter and see what happens. So it's retried, it failed, and you see that our assertion got failed here, expected 203, and we received 200 by hitting this API. Okay, now let me go back here again and let me change it to 200 back. Now we have the body here, right? So let's go with some more assertions here, body assertions. So simply I'll create a variable called const, and I will name it as response body, and response body should be equal to await then response. So from because it contains all response, that's why we are able to assert this status code. So from response, now we need a body. So response, okay, dot JSON. So it will parse the body for us. Okay, so returns the JSON of the response body. You can see that this is the purpose of this particular method. So it will basically parse the JSON and we will get the response body. Okay, so once we have this one here, now we can start asserting. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Expect response body. Okay, so now if we want to assert the first value, for example, if I go to this postman here, so you see that we have a parameter called user ID with the value 1 here. Okay, so in order to work with this one, so simply response body, and from response body we need a user ID. Okay, and what we are setting that user ID to be 1 here because it's 1, right? So simply I will save this one, Control C, Control, and let's run this again. And this time because user ID value has 1, so it get passed. Now let me change it to 2, for example, and now let me run this one here and see what happens. So you see that it failed and we got the response. So we expected is 2 and we received the ID equals to 1. So in this way you can actually assert the value here. And now in order to assert the other values, for example title from the body, because in the body we have this title here as well, right? So simply this again really easy here, and I'll copy this one from here and paste it here. And now what I'll is that, so instead of this one, so it will be a title here. So title, and title to be, now this is a string, so we need to pass a string here. And let me go here and copy this string from here and let me paste it here. And now let's run this one and let me change it to 1 here. And now Control C, Y, and let's run this one again. So you see that everything is passed. If I change here, add something here now, and let me go with this one again. Now this time it should fail because it should not match the title which is coming from the body, and this is what we are expected, and this is what we are received from this particular API. Now the response body is pretty much very easy to work with here because we are getting the very basic JSON object here, JSON format here. Now if I go to the other API which is returning more data, so let me go there and let me show you. So basically if I talk about this post here, let me close these ones as of now. So here you see that we are getting so much data here, and we have user ID 1, so much data. So how you will match, because here the user ID equals to 1 here, also user ID is equals to 1 here, so the data is repeating. There's so many data which is repeating here. So how are you gonna tell that which data you want to assert here? Okay, so that's again a simple thing here. So let me create a new file so that you can understand this in a better way. So I'll name it as rest underscore get underscore json.spec.js, and now let me copy this line of code from here and paste it here, and simply test, and so handling complex JSON response, or asserting is the more appropriate word, asserting complex JSON response. And here again we need to go with the async. Okay, and here we can also go with the page fixture as well. So simply if I go here and I can pass the page fixture here. So this is another way to work with the APIs here. So simply I will go here followed by a callback function, and now here I again so go with the URL first. So const URL is equals to, so from here I'll copy this URL and let me go back here and paste it here. Okay, now once we are done with this, now what we need to do is that simply again const response is equal to await page dot request. So in the previous example I was passing the request directly into the function. So here I am using page dot request, and inside this one I need to pass this URL. So this is another way, so both will work for you. And here I need to assert different values. So for example, if you want to see that if your API is working fine, so we have one assertion, so await expect response dot to response dot, so await expect response dot to be okay. Okay, so this is the one, and just save this one and Control C Y, and oops, I don't need to run this one. So let's go back here, Control C, and let me change the name of the test from here. So basically it's asserting complex JSON response, and now hit enter. So you see that running one test and we are getting some failures. So basically it says that there's some problem. So page.request, okay, is not a function, because what is the reason here? So reason is that page.request, and now we need to tell what kind of request we are making. So it's dot get, right? So save this one, let me run this one again, and now it should work fine because we have informed the player that this is a get request. Now it's this pass, and now you see that we have more number of users. So as soon as I hit this API, so you are getting more than one users, right? So user ID 1, user ID 2, right? So let's assert this thing here, and again that would be easier, and simply I will create one variable here, const users equals to await again response dot JSON. Okay, so we'll get the response. in the form of JSON here, and from here await. Okay, so expect users dot, so we have a method called length, and we are saying that length should be greater than 1. So what we are saying is that we are asserting that there are more than one records. Okay, so to be greater than, okay, so we have to be greater than here, and we are saying it should be greater than 0. Okay, and let me save this one and let me run this one again here and see what happens. So again, our test is passed because we have so many records coming in. And now the tricky part here, which we really need to understand here. So the one thing I want to tell you here is that basically you see that we have user ID 3, 2. So how to assert the user ID in this particular case, because this ID is repetitive here. Okay, so again, that's easy. When we talk about this JSON array, so the first record is on the 0 index. So this is 0 index, this is 1 index, then 2, 3, 4, and so on. So simply using this logic, what I will do is that I will assert a value. So await expect. Okay, now users have all the data, and now we need to use of array here, and we need to pass which record we need from here. Okay, dot id dot, okay, to be and I'm saying it should be 2, and so basically users are here. We need to give a bracket. Okay, so basically 0 index record ID should be 2. So basically if I go here, and so this is index 0, but here is the ID value is 1, so it should fail here, right? So because we are saying that from users go to the index 0, and from there ID needs to be 2. So in this case it should fail here, right? So let's go here and run this one here, and here you see that we got a failure. So expected 2, but we got the 1, and here's the line where actually we got the assertion here, right? So simply if I go back here, change it to 1 here, and now if I run this one here, so you will actually, this time it should pass, because now the users on the index 0 having the ID equals to 1. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you like our content, then do like, comment, share, and subscribe our channel. Once again, thank you so much, and see you in the next tutorial.